Right now at noon, the Joplin City Council rejects the idea of banning shooter bottles.
We're still dealing with some fog out there, some of that mist and drizzle just plaguing us under these cloudy skies. But there is a break in the rain on the way. We'll talk about that coming up.
And President Biden is set to meet with congressional leaders again today to resume talks over raising the nation's debt ceiling.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Joplin City Council shoots down a proposal to ban sales of many alcohol bottles in the city. This is KOAM News at Noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, the Joplin City Council rejects a proposal to ban sales of those miniature shooter bottles. Now, these bottles are commonly used for selling alcohol in quantities of 100 milliliters or less. Supporters of the proposal argued the bottles contribute heavily to the city's litter problem. But opponents said a ban would be unfair and would hurt the city's sales tax revenue. The council rejected the ordinance by a vote of 6-3. Firefighters investigate an overnight house fire in Joplin's Blinville neighborhood. 911 calls came in shortly after midnight about the structure fire on South Wall Avenue. 6 units from the Joplin Fire Department responded along with the JPD and Metz EMS. Firefighters had the active flames under control within minutes, but the fire had already spread through the porch ceiling and into the eaves of the roof. No one was found inside or injured during the blaze. Crews remain on scene until about 2 a.m. 2 semis collided on I-44, shutting down a large section of the interstate for several hours overnight. It happened at mile marker 14 at about 12:20 a.m. One of the trucks overturned, and the other semi, a cattle hauler, jackknife across the highway. Responders requested MoDOT to bring sand to cover the leaked diesel fuel. Now, rain is a good thing, but when you get too much at one time, it can lead to flooding. And this picture was taken by the Carthage Chamber of Commerce Monday evening on Garrison Avenue. And this photo shows a home near Grand Falls in Joplin. You can see the large rush of water coming through their yard. Now, most rivers and creeks won't crest until the rain chance is in. Chris Warner joins us with a first look at the forecast.
Yeah, we've actually just got some good news in terms of the flooding situation. All of our flood advisories and flood warnings have actually been canceled, and that is great news. In fact, Spring River near Carthage is going down, and it's going down a lot faster than was originally forecast from National Weather Service. So great news on the flooding front, but we're still dealing with some of that mist, that drizzle, the fog out there. Carthage down to Joplin, down to Grove, right along this corridor, still in the thick of it, leading to some reduced visibilities out there. Taking a look at our camera at 7th and Range Line, you can see, again, it's not a significant impact to travel, but it is just an unpleasant situation. MoDOT camera 20th and Range Line, you can see it a little more clearly here, or less clearly, depending on how you want to put that in terms of that fog. And then there is some distant fog even on the KDOT camera at 69 and 400. So still plenty of it out there, but it is beginning to clear out. And of course, the fog, the drizzle doesn't show up on radar. All the main showers for us are out of here for the next couple of days, but we have more of those much needed rain chances on the way. All right, started at 64 yesterday, made it up to 79, and we're not going to be anywhere near that today. I managed to pick up about 3/4 of an inch of rain at the airport, putting us about a 1/2 inch above, but still down more than 3.5 inches for the year so far. So that's why we need more rain. 59 in Iola, 61 Chanute, 62 Parsons, Oswego, 63 Miami, 62 Neosho, 61 Carthage, and we're at 61 Joplin, Pittsburgh, and Fort Scott. So here's a look at what we're keeping an eye on. We've still got that patchy fog for some of us, still cloudy and cool as we go through today, and we're dealing with this brief cool down. There will be another one heading into this weekend, and then the storm chances will return later this week. We'll talk about those incoming storm chances and when it's going to warm up again here in just a few more minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. As the weather warms up, ticks are already making their presence known. A recent study in Missouri detected tick-borne diseases in about 21% of the gathered ticks. Ticks can carry several serious diseases with a number of debilitating symptoms. Experts say it's important to protect yourself while outside by using insect repellent, wearing long-sleeve shirts and long pants, and staying on walking paths.
They are most attracted to areas of high moisture. So that's going to be things like your armpits, your groin, your feet, because of socks trapping moisture in your shoes. So those are the first places to check when looking for ticks on you.
Experts say it's important to treat your pets for ticks, as they can easily carry ticks and bring them indoors. Federal lawmakers are running out of time one day after Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen reissued a warning. The U.S. could run out of money to pay its bills by June 1st if the White House and Congress do not reach a deal to raise the nation's debt limit. Skylar Henry has the latest from Washington, D.C.
With the clock ticking, President Biden is meeting with congressional leaders again this afternoon, looking to reach a deal to hike the federal debt limit.
I appreciate the president finally willing to talk after 97 days, but there is no movement.
Despite public comments, sources tell CBS News that in recent days, the two sides have made some progress.
But I really think there's a desire on their part as well as ours to reach agreement.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is demanding federal spending cuts from the Biden administration, and one area of compromise could be rescinding COVID relief funds that have been approved but not yet spent. Other Republican proposals are much more controversial. The Office of Management and Budget released a memo saying proposed cuts would slash at least 30% of all areas outside defense, the Veterans Affairs Department, and Homeland Security. This would severely impact programs including cancer research, Meals on Wheels for seniors, preschool and child care, and veterans programs. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says if no deal is reached, it would cause severe hardship to American families and harm our global leadership position. And adding to the uncertainty, President Biden is set to leave tomorrow for the G7 summit in Japan. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
It's important to note that OMB is part of the executive branch and appointed by the president. Well, the U.S. government isn't the only one facing mounting debt. A new report from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York shows Americans are carrying a record amount, including credit card debt that remains at a record $986 billion, up 17% from last year. Most people are paying high interest on that borrowed money, with the average interest rate at about 21%. Financial experts say to lower your credit card debt, it's important to develop a budget. You can also transfer a balance to a new card with a 0% introductory rate, which will help you avoid interest for a limited time. And consumers can also call their credit card company and ask for a lower rate. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, 5 suspects are convicted and sentenced in one of Germany's biggest jewel heists. And later, we're making tangy pickled eggs in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. A court in Germany convicts and sentences 5 men for helping to carry out the biggest jewelry heist in modern history. CBS's Tina Kraus reports on the gang's dramatic but ultimately foiled plan.
The jewel thieves managed to hide their faces but couldn't escape justice as a German judge found them guilty for pulling off a daring diamond heist more than 3 years ago. The court sentenced 5 gang members, all in their 20s and from the same family, to several years in prison over the theft of 18th century jewels worth nearly $130 million. This man was acquitted because of his airtight alibi. A security camera captured the brazen burglary at Dresden's Green Vault Museum back in 2019. Masked robbers armed with axes, smashing glass and snatching 21 pieces of jewelry filled with 4,300 diamonds. Prosecutors say the gang started a fire just before the break-in to cut power to streetlights, then torched a car before fleeing to Berlin, where police arrested them several months later. The judge says the thieves cut a plea deal after most of the jewels were returned. But it's feared some of the priceless looted treasure may never be found. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
Authorities say the jewel thieves are members of the Berlin-based Remo clan, an extended family known for a web of ties to organized crime in Germany. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
You've probably had your eggs scrambled, sunny side up and even poached. But have you ever had them like we're making them today?
But first, we've got warmer weather on the way and more rain chances this week ahead of another brief cool down. We'll take a look at that forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at Noon. So we've had ourselves, as promised, a very cloudy, dreary day out there. Some of us still dealing with some mist, some drizzle that's leading to some fog, or at least some reduced visibilities. But this will all eventually stop, and we'll then just be left with plain old cloudy skies. Taking a look at our camera at 7th and Range Line, you can see visibility is not heavily impacted by this. It's more of an annoyance, but you can tell that there is a bit of a fog from the mist that's out there, and it's a little more visible from the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line. It's zoomed in just a bit, and you can see not a significant impact on visibilities, but still, it's got an impact, and it's not pleasant to drive around in because the mist and the drizzle on your windshield and the wipers, and it's a mess. KDOT camera at 69 and 400, looking good so far. The fog not so bad up there. Right now in Joplin, we've got those cloudy skies. We got a little bit of that mist. 61, northwest breeze at 6. This is almost a carbon copy of our current conditions from this morning because, as I mentioned this morning, temperatures really not going anywhere today. Sitting at 61 and cloudy in Pittsburgh with a wind north-northwest at about 3 miles an hour. So it's not really doing much to move any of this. It's just going to kind of sit here. And look at this. Temperatures, again, they're up a little bit, but it's almost the same as this morning. So at 59 in Iola, 68 Center, 62 Parsons, 63 in Chautauqua, Miami, 62 Neosho, Monette, and 61 in Carthage here at 12:15 on this Tuesday. We'll have those cloudy skies continuing. Might see a few breaks in the clouds a little bit later. Still looking to make maybe about 64 degrees. And as we head into this evening, we'll start to see more breaks in the clouds, still mostly cloudy, but a few more breaks in them, and we'll eventually make it down into the upper 50s. Now, heading into tomorrow, it's a completely different story. We'll see partly cloudy skies, maybe even some mostly sunny skies out there, and considerably warmer temperatures as we head to the mid to upper 70s as we go through our Wednesday, and that's going to be an opportunity to dry out. Now, the good news is, again, those flood warnings and flood advisories have been canceled, but still need to dry out a bit for some. I know we need more rain, and that's the other half of the good news is more is on the way. So we head into Thursday morning. We're starting out not too bad, and then as we go later into the day, around 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, we're going to start to see a few scattered showers and thunderstorms developing around the area, and these will increase in coverage as we go overnight Friday and into Friday morning. So here we are about 5:30 Friday morning. More showers and thunderstorms, and these will kind of persist through the day. Here we are at 2 o'clock. Still showers and thunderstorms. Here we are about 8:39. More showers and thunderstorms, but then they come to an abrupt halt overnight Friday into Saturday. So again, some additional much needed rain chances out there for us as we head into Thursday and Friday. And that's the other part of our cool down is the rain and clouds are going to be enough that it'll keep us cool Friday and Saturday. So again, near 80 for us on Wednesday, about 80 Thursday ahead of the storms and partly cloudy. Then we get the storms. Not a bad weekend, though. Partly cloudy Saturday, mostly sunny on Sunday. We're going to continue to warm as we start the next work week and initially start off dry. Temperatures climbing back into the lower 80s. And then we've got some additional shower and thunderstorm chances as we head into Wednesday and Thursday, of next week. But temperatures remaining warm, staying in the lower 80s.
All right. Well, that is quite a drop in temperatures for our evenings for this weekend. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be nice.
It's going to be pretty darn chilly out there compared to what we've seen. But if you're like me, if you like the warmer weather, it will return rather quickly.
Nah, keep it cool for me. I like it. All right, thanks, Chris. Well, stick around. We're making tangy deviled eggs in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen after the break. Today we're making a real Southern specialty, and if you've never had the chance to try them, get ready to eat more than one. We're making tangy pickled eggs in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
If you've ever been to an English pub or a church potluck, then you're probably familiar with pickled eggs. If you're not familiar with them, you're probably thinking, really? Pickled eggs? Let me assure you that they're quite tasty and make a welcome addition to any summertime gathering. We start off by hard-boiling eggs and peeling them just like we normally would do. After they're peeled, We place them in a glass jar and set those aside. While those are cooling, we combine a good amount of white vinegar, water, some sliced garlic, a little sugar to give it a bit of a sweet and sour taste, a tablespoon of pickling spice, and some salt and pepper. After this comes to a boil, we carefully pour this over our eggs, cover them, and pop them in the fridge overnight. To make these Amish style, you can always add some beet juice or sliced beets to the brining solution. Put these out the next time your family comes over, or keep them on hand as a quick grab-and-go snack. Either way, they're sure to be a hit. To get the recipe for our tangy pickled eggs, simply visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a picklicious way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
All right, you can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4 state market prices.
And with through the afternoon, still not very warm. We're looking at low 60s for highs tomorrow. Much better temperatures Thursday. More storms Thursday into Friday, and then we got a pretty decent weekend ahead of us in case you need to catch up on any of that yard work or that overgrown grass out there.
See, I prefer calling the 69 decent temperatures in the 80s, just too warm for me. Chris and I argue there. Yeah.
I like it
To each his own.
Yeah, right? What do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5, surprising signs your lungs are not healthy. And Health Watch, what your body might be telling you when it comes to your lung health. Plus, the sister of a man murdered in Joplin 1 year ago speaks out to bring attention to his unsolved case in hopes of someone coming forward. And women learning from women at the annual Women in Business Networking Luncheon in Miami, Oklahoma. Hope you'll join us for those stories, a lot more, of course. It's all coming up today on KOAM News at 5.
All right, thank you, Dal. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.